Hi, I'm Matt Kleiman. I'm a software engineer at Pivotal Labs in New York. For the past 6 months, Pivotal and Greenplum have been contributing to the pgadmin open source project. And in that time, we've felt some of the pains of working on an open source project. My team in particular, it's the first time we've worked on an open source project. So I'm going to talk about one of the pains that we felt and how we solved it using tests, and specifically test-driven development. This function here is a function, a JavaScript function from pgadmin, from the SQL editor. And there was a period of 4 weeks where many contributors were working within this same function. We were all fixing bugs and applying new features to the same area of code. And the contributors are from all over the world, from different companies, individual contributors. So there's a lot of pain around anytime someone gets their change into this, committed into this function. Everyone else has to merge that code, and it's very difficult. It adds a lot of time to our workflow. And we also, without having any tests around this function, didn't know if our change was breaking the person who just made the change, and so on. Now at Pivotal Labs, we use an extreme programming practice called test-driven development. What this means is that we write all of our tests first before writing our code. That way, we can define the behavior of the code that we are intending to write. And then when we write that code, we just keep writing it until each test passes. And at the end of it, we have a 100% test-covered application. So what we did with this particular function, when we had so much pain around churn on it, was we first started by writing tests around the function. This here is the final result of all of the tests that we could determine that defined the behavior of what this function was trying to do. Once we had written all of these tests to cover this function, we then deleted all of the code from the function and started one by one from each test, trying to make each one pass. Now the end result here is this function. There's helper functions that are defined elsewhere, but we found that this function was a lot easier to read, and if anyone were to make a change to this function, they'd have to ensure that all of the tests continued to pass. That way, allowing them to have some confidence in the change that they've made. As we go through and work with this code base, we continue to implement, to extract functions out of the code and write tests around them to help us do our work and to help the community to ensure that that they're not stepping on each other's toes. Thank you.